It's the moment you realize someone who shares your blood, who grew up in the same house, who was trusted by everyone you love, has been plotting behind your back. Not in a petty sibling rivalry sort of way, but with strategy, with malice, with intent. Have you ever questioned whether the people closest to you really see you? Or do they just see the version someone else invented for them? Take a moment to subscribe to the channel if stories like this resonate with you. Hit like, share your city, and the time you're watching this in the comments. I'm Jenna Reyes, and this isn't just a family drama. This is a story about finally drawing the line. Now, let's listen to my story journey. It's sunset at Calistoga Ridge, an award-winning vineyard in Northern California. And the sky is that kind of ridiculous fire orange hue you only see in postcards. The smell of lavender and wood smoke hangs in the air as strings of warm fairy lights blink over rows of white chairs. This isn't a wedding for normal people. It's the kind of event where the caterers wear tuxedos and the welcome cocktails have flower petals in them. My cousin Lisette, sweet, soft-spoken Lisette, is marrying a man who builds boutique hotels and talks about curating experiences like he's mixing paint. I should be happy for her. I really should. But I'm distracted by the way my brother Micah has been circling me all evening like a predator at a watering hole. Micah, the golden boy, the one who graduated from Yale, got a corner office at 29, and somehow convinced every member of our Filipino Catholic family that he's the second coming of Christ. I'm the black sheep, the dropout who runs a digital illustration business from my rent-controlled apartment in Oakland, the one who still hasn't found a husband at 33. But I've made peace with that, mostly. I'm sitting at a high-top table near the open bar, enjoying my first glass of champagne. Just me, my thoughts, and the gentle thrum of jazz spilling from the live trio under the pergola. Micah appears beside me like a bad memory. "Enjoying yourself, Jen?" he asks smoothly, adjusting his cufflinks. I nod cautiously. "It's a beautiful wedding." "It is." He glances down at my glass. "You always did have a taste for the good stuff, even when you couldn't afford it." That's Micah. Every compliment dipped in acid. I excuse myself to the restroom just to get away. When I return, something stops me in my tracks. I freeze, half hidden behind a potted olive tree. Micah is at my table. He doesn't know I'm watching. He's holding my glass, then reaching into his jacket pocket. Something small? A capsule? A crushed something? I see it fall in. He stirs the drink with a casual swirl and smiles, satisfied. It's not subtle. It's not even careful. My heart lurches. I could scream. I could march across the lawn and slap the glass out of his hand. But I don't. Not yet. Instead, I do what Micah would never expect from me. I stay quiet. I wait until he's gone, then calmly take the glass. I pretend everything is fine. And I walk it straight over to him. He's by the stage now, charming a group of groomsmen with one hand in his pocket and the other holding a tumbler of bourbon. "Micah," I say, all smiles. "We never toasted. To Lisette, to love." He raises his glass, half distracted. "Sure, cheers." No, I say playfully, holding up the champagne. "Come on, toast with me properly. This one's more appropriate. Trade me for a second?" He laughs like I'm being adorable, shrugs, and takes the glass. "To Lisette," he says. "To love," I echo. He drinks. I don't. Over his shoulder, I see our mother clapping along to the music. Our father deep in conversation with the groom's parents. No one sees it, no one sees me. But I do. For the first time in decades, I feel like I'm the one holding the pen in the story Micah's always tried to write for me, waiting to see what happens next. Micah has always been this way. Growing up, he had that disarming smile that made adults melt and kids step aside. He was charming in a way that disarmed suspicion, and manipulative in a way that made you doubt your own memory. And me? I was the little sister with skinned knees, tangled hair, and too many questions. I remember the day of my 10th birthday party. I'd begged for a roller skating rink party for months. Mom finally agreed. I wore purple glitter overalls and rollerblades with light-up wheels. But halfway through the party, someone called the rink office and canceled our time slot. We got kicked off the floor. Kids cried. I cried harder. "Micah, 12 at the time, stepped forward like a savior. "It's okay," he said, grabbing the aux cord and organizing a dance circle in the corner. Everyone followed him. He played the hero. Later that night, I overheard him in the hallway with his best friend, bragging about how easy it was to spoof a cancellation call using our neighbor's cordless phone. It was always like that. Sabotage dressed in silk. In high school, he started dating my best friend Maria. I was 16. She was my person. But after a few weeks of secret tutoring, she stopped calling me. I found out they were dating via Instagram. Him posting photos with captions like, "She gets me in ways no one else does." When I confronted him, he looked me dead in the eye and said, "Maybe don't leave your people unattended if you want to keep them." I was 16. I didn't know what gaslighting meant. I just knew that somehow I was always the one who ended up alone and apologizing. College gave me space, but not freedom. Even across the country, Micah's influence lingered. At Thanksgiving, he'd show up with stories about new promotions, fancy apartments, girlfriends with model cheekbones. I'd just gotten my graphic design certificate from a night school in Berkeley and was freelancing odd jobs. To our parents, his success was proof that everything they'd sacrificed in immigrating here was worth it. "Look at Micah," Dad would say. "He honors the family name." "And what about Jenna?" Mom would follow up. "Still trying to draw cartoons?" Cartoons. As if branding and digital campaigns for indie startups weren't real work. As if I didn't hustle every day to pay rent, buy groceries, breathe. But I didn't argue. I never argued. Micah always won. And if you pushed back, you were emotional. Or worse, jealous. So I learned to shrink. Quiet myself. Let holidays pass like bruises I'd explain away. Until tonight. Until the wedding. Until the poison in the toast. Now I sit on a stone bench beneath an arbor of grapevines, watching Micah drift through the reception. And something strange is happening. His smile falters. He's swaying slightly, blinking like the lights are too bright. His laugh is delayed, like it's lagging in a video call. His hand misses the edge of a cocktail table, fingers sliding off empty air. I press my fingers together tightly in my lap. A knot coils in my stomach. What did he put in that drink? Because here's the thing. I assumed it was something petty, something stupid. A muscle relaxant, maybe, or something that would make me say dumb things so he could point and laugh. But now I'm not so sure. He bumps into a bridesmaid, knocking her clutch to the ground. He stammers an apology, grabs a glass of wine from someone else's table, and gulps it. I rise, heart pounding. There's something off about this. Way off. I find Auntie Lorna by the dessert bar and ask casually, "Have you seen Micah? He looks a little off." She chuckles, oblivious. "Just a few too many drinks, Anak. He's celebrating." I nod, smile, lie. But something inside me coils tighter. Because if there's one thing Micah Reyes never does, it's lose control in public. That's what scares me most. Micah doesn't get sloppy. He doesn't misstep. He doesn't forget names or spill drinks or miscalculate appearances. His whole persona is built on polish, on curated perfection that our parents ate up like communion bread. So when I spot him again, leaning on the railing by the vineyard's overlook, hunched and muttering to himself, I know something's wrong, really wrong. The sun has set and the fairy lights now glow brighter, casting soft halos on the wooden deck. From a distance, you'd think he's just catching his breath. Up close, he looks like a man trying to remember what air feels like. "Micah," I say quietly, approaching. He doesn't turn, just mumbles, "Hey sis," like he knows it's me by scent. "You okay?" His laugh is wet, slurred. "Didn't realize they made the wine this strong." "It's champagne." He shrugs. "Whatever. It's burning." "Your face is flushed." He rubs at his cheek absent-mindedly. "You ever feel like everything's fake?" he says, slurring on the F. "Like your whole life is just lines from a play?" The wind rustles the vines nearby. A wedding guest laughs in the distance. For a split second, the world feels like it's tipping sideways. "What did you take?" I ask, gently but firmly. "Did you mix something with the alcohol?" He looks at me then, eyes glassy but wide. "No," he whispers. "Why would I didn't..." And then he vomits. Violently, over the railing. People turn. A few gasp. Someone says, "Oh my God, is that the best man?" I grab his shoulders, steadying him as best I can. We need help. Within minutes, chaos blooms. The wedding planner sprints across the lawn. The bride's father starts demanding someone call 911. And Micah's fiancé, yes, fiancé, races up in stilettos and a silk slip dress, shrieking, "What the hell is happening?" I say nothing, because if I say what I know, that he tampered with my drink and ended up poisoning himself, I'll be accused of being cruel, vindictive, unstable. Micah slumps to the floor of the vineyard deck. His speech is disintegrating into fragmented syllables. His eyes roll back, and for a terrifying moment, I think he might lose consciousness. The paramedics arrive 10 minutes later, their flashing lights painting the vineyard crimson. They load him onto a stretcher. His fiancée sobs. Our parents appear, horror on their faces. Dad shouts, "Was it drugs? Who gave him something?" Everyone looks around. No one looks at me. Micah groans as they lift him. "It wasn't meant to be like this," he murmurs, a voice barely audible. I stiffen. Because that wasn't random. That was confession. That was acknowledgement. The paramedics ask for medical history, medications, possible exposure. Mom's voice wavers. He doesn't take anything. I clear my throat, feeling every eye in the circle turn toward me. I think someone may have spiked his drink. The words leave my mouth calmly, but my heart hammers like thunder in my ears. "Do you know who?" the EMT asks. I look down at my shoes. "Not yet," I lie. Micah is wheeled away, and I'm left standing on the gravel path beneath the wine trellises, watching the party dissolve, the cake untouched, the music halted. What no one knows is that I didn't just witness him slip something into my glass. I have the vial, wrapped in a cocktail napkin, tucked in the pocket of my dress. Because Micah didn't notice that when he dropped it on the table, I retrieved it. It's small, unlabeled. But when I Googled the imprint on the capsule during all the chaos, it came back as lorazepam, a strong anti-anxiety med with sedative effects. Dangerous when mixed with alcohol. I hold the napkin like a talisman, hands trembling. This could ruin him, or save me. Depending on what I do next, the hospital waiting room smells like antiseptic and reheated coffee. I sit in a rigid plastic chair beneath the glow of fluorescent lights, clutching the folded napkin in my pocket like it's radioactive. My parents are across from me, whispering furiously in Tagalog. Mom's eyes are rimmed red. Dad's hands tremble as he flips through a hospital pamphlet without reading a word. Micah's fiancée, Yvonne, is pacing like a metronome. Her stiletto heels clack against the linoleum, click, 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 like a countdown I don't know the ending to. He's stable for now, the nurse tells us, emerging through the double doors. But we need to keep him overnight for observation. His blood alcohol content is high, and we found traces of lorazepam in his system. There it is. The room goes quiet. Yvonne gasps. "Lorazepam! He doesn't take that." My father stands. "Are you sure? That can't be right. He's never been on drugs." "It's not recreational," the nurse clarifies. "It's prescribed, but dangerous when combined with alcohol. It can cause disorientation, memory loss, even unconsciousness." "Did someone give it to him?" Mom asks, her voice shaking. The nurse glances between us. "The doctor will speak with him once he's lucid. We've also contacted the authorities. It's protocol in suspected drugging cases." Yvonne turns sharply to me. "You were with him last." "What the hell happened, Jenna?" Her voice cuts sharp, brittle. Everyone's looking at me. This is it. The moment I decide whether to stay silent and protect the illusion or tear it down. "I wasn't the one who gave him anything," I say evenly. "But I saw someone tamper with a drink." "Who?" Dad demands. My mouth goes dry. I touch the napkin in my pocket like a safety net. "I'm not ready to say yet," I reply. And the way they all react, outrage, disbelief, confusion, makes something very old and very deep inside me start to crack. Later, when the detective arrives, I ask to speak with him privately. We sit in a tiny consultation room with a fake plant in the corner and a dusty box of tissues between us. I tell him what I saw, what Micah did. I hand over the napkin-wrapped pill fragment. He listens without blinking, jotting notes with a quiet patience that unsettles me more than if he'd been skeptical. When I'm done, he sets down his pen. You understand that if this goes to trial, it'll become public. I do. You're willing to testify? Against your own brother? I think about that word, brother. What does it even mean anymore? Yes, I say. I'm willing. When I leave the room, Mom is waiting for me. What did you tell him? The truth, I answer. Her face twists. Not with anger, but something harder to name. Disappointment? Fear? You would shame the family like this? I laugh, but it comes out wrong. He drugged my drink, Mom. You don't know that. Maybe he made a mistake. No, Mom. He didn't accidentally carry a sedative in his jacket pocket. He didn't accidentally drop it into my glass. She recoils like I slapped her. You've always been jealous. That does it. Jealous? Of what, Mom? The praise? The fake success? The way you ignored every awful thing he did because it made you look like good parents? You want to protect your reputation more than your own daughter's safety. Her hand goes to her mouth. I'm done keeping quiet, I say, voice trembling but clear. If protecting this family means letting Micah destroy people, I'm opting out. I walk away, down the hall, out the door, into the cold air that doesn't judge me. I don't cry, not yet, because the worst thing about betrayal isn't that it happens. It's that when it does, nobody believes it came from the one smiling in the family photos. They say every family has secrets, but what they don't tell you is how good families become experts at hiding them in plain sight. 3 days after the hospital, the police formally request a statement from Micah. He refuses to comment. His lawyer steps in, and suddenly the story shifts. From concern for his health to damage control. I'm not surprised. Micah's entire life is about control. How things look, how they're told, how they're spun. I learned through a cousin that he's telling people he was drugged by someone else at the party. That maybe it was a guest or a jealous ex. That he suspects someone spiked his drink to sabotage him right before his wedding. No one says my name, but I feel it, like a phantom bruise on my skin. I go back to work, half functioning, running on caffeine and rage. Clients complain that my email tone is short. I lose one contract, another goes silent. I start sleeping with my phone under my pillow, half expecting to wake up to a cease and desist letter from Micah's lawyer. And then it arrives. A carefully worded, faux cordial cease and desist from a high-priced law firm requesting that I refrain from spreading unsubstantiated accusations that may cause reputational harm. Reputational harm. Like Micah didn't almost drug me at a wedding. Like the vial I handed to the police didn't exist. Like the hospital records are imaginary. But here's the kicker, the real gut punch. It's not the legal letter, it's my parents. They visit me the next evening, showing up unannounced. Holding a box of pastries like sugar might soften the blow. We just want peace, my mother says softly, setting down the pastries like a peace offering. This whole situation, it's torn us apart. I didn't tear anything, I reply. Micah did. Maybe, my father says carefully. But your reaction? It's escalated everything. I stare at them, mouth open. You're saying it's my fault? No, Anak, my mother says quickly. But maybe it's time to let things go. You don't want to ruin your brother's future over a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I say, standing now. He put lorazepam in my champagne. What if I'd had a bad reaction? What if someone else had taken that drink? What if... Stop. Dad cuts in. We're not here to argue. But they are. They're here to do what they've always done. Wrap their son's crimes in excuses and demand my silence for the sake of unity. I walk to the door and open it. You should go. My mom looks at me, eyes misty. You're still our daughter. And you're still enabling him? I say quietly. We can't fix anything if you won't even name it. They leave. I don't eat the pastries. That night, I dream of drowning in a champagne flute. 3 days later, the detective calls. I need you to come down to the station, he says. There's something you should hear. When I arrive, he plays me a recording. It's Micah. A jailhouse phone call, recently obtained, made to someone I don't recognize. He's laughing, the way he always does when he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. It was supposed to knock her off balance, that's all. She always walks into family stuff like she's better than us. I just wanted her to fall on her face once. Just once. The recording crackles. She's gonna ruin everything. She never knows when to shut up. It takes everything in me not to scream. Later that night, sitting on my floor with a glass of ginger ale, I open my laptop and begin typing. An open letter. Not to the press, not to the courts, to my family. I don't send it, but I write every word as if they were standing in the room, listening. I tell the truth, and for the first time, I don't care if it makes me the villain in their story, because silence was never safety. It was a cage. I used to think betrayal was like a single sharp knife to the gut, but that's not how it works in families, not in real ones. It's more like 1,000 tiny paper cuts delivered in silence, with polite smiles and concerned head tilts. It's your mom asking if you're sure you saw what you saw. It's your dad suggesting that you not dwell on the past. It's every cousin, aunt, and childhood friend who sends a polite message saying, thinking of you, while still RSVPing yes to Micah's rescheduled engagement party. Yep, you heard me right. 2 weeks after the hospital incident, he and Yvonne re-announced their engagement, this time intimate and media-free. Because apparently, near overdosing at a wedding isn't enough to derail a fairy tale if the family's image is polished enough. I scroll through the Instagram posts. Filtered, curated perfection. Micah in a pale blue linen suit. Yvonne in vintage Dior. The caption reading, "Through storms, we rise." I almost laugh. Until I realize the comments section is full of people I once trusted. So glad you're okay. You two are stronger than ever. Ignore the haters. Jealousy is loud. That one guts me. I close the app and open my email. There's a message from someone I haven't heard from in over a decade. Subject line, I think I know what he did to me too. It's from Maria. Yes, that Maria, my high school best friend. The one Micah tutored into dating him and then ghosted me like I was a bad habit. I open it. Her message is short, clipped, nervous. Jenna, I saw the news. I know we haven't spoken since everything. But I always wondered. I never told anyone this, but after I started seeing Micah, weird things happened. I'd lose time. Wake up with no memory of conversations. He said I was just anxious. He gave me pills to help, but I didn't question it back then. Now I wonder if I should have. I'm sorry for not believing you. I think he did it to both of us. Maria, I read it 3 times. Then I cry. Not because I'm sad, but because this is the first time I don't feel crazy. For years, I questioned whether I'd made Micah's cruelty up in my head. Whether I'd misread the smirks, the silence, the slow undermining of everything I was. Now I see it for what it was. A pattern. Predatory, careful, rehearsed. Maria agrees to speak with the detective. Her statement triggers a new round of legal questioning. Micah's lawyer grows quiet. The energy shifts. Not drastically, but enough. Meanwhile, Yvonne calls off the wedding. Quietly, this time. I find out through a mutual friend who sends me a photo of a moving truck in front of Micah's condo. I don't gloat. I sit with the knowledge like a heavy coat across my lap. This isn't revenge. It's justice beginning to turn. Micah's downfall isn't public yet, but behind the scenes, the scaffolding is crumbling. He's been put on a leave of absence at his firm. The bar is investigating him for ethics violations. Turns out one of his interns filed a harassment complaint that got lost in HR. That complaint is now very much found. My parents still haven't apologized. Not really. They've stopped calling. Mom sends me articles about therapy and texts that say things like, family is complicated and we all make mistakes. Mistake. Funny word for attempted drugging. I keep going to therapy, keep taking my long walks through the park, keep drawing. My sketchbook is filling up again. I get a call from a local nonprofit for women's safety education. They read the letter I wrote but never sent. Someone close to me shared it anonymously. They ask if I'd speak on a panel. The thought makes me queasy. And then, warm. Maybe this isn't the end of the story. Maybe it's the start of someone else's safety. 3 nights later, I light a candle on my tiny balcony. The air smells like rain and jasmine. My sketchbook lies open, half finished. I draw Micah, not how he looks now, but how I used to see him. Towering, golden, untouchable. Then I flip the page and draw myself. Not broken, not soft, solid, whole, the way no one ever drew me before. 6 months pass before I see Micah again. Not in a courtroom, not at a forced family dinner, just unexpectedly, at a bookstore, of all places. The last place I'd picture him. He's thinner. Not in a tragic, fallen from grace way, just less puffed up. His shirt is wrinkled, his shoes worn at the heel. He looks like someone who no longer has a publicist. I spot him before he sees me, tucked into the memoir section, staring down at a title that reads, "The Masks We Wear." Funny, I could walk away, slide behind a pillar of cookbooks, vanish like I was never there. But I don't. I step forward. "Didn't know you could read," I say. Micah looks up, startled. Then, "God help me," he smiles, like muscle memory. "Jenna?" I tilt my head. "Micah." A beat passes. The store is quiet. Outside, rain taps against the window, like it's reminding us we're still here, still breathing. "You look good," he says cautiously. "You don't." He chuckles, but it lands flat. There's a pause. The kind that used to be filled with his clever comebacks or my silent retreat. Now it just sits. "I heard about the panel you did last month," he says. Of course he did. Quiet doesn't stay quiet anymore. "I told the truth," I reply simply. "I know." He looks down at the book again. Doesn't buy it. Doesn't walk away. Just keeps holding it like a fragile confession. "I lost everything," he murmurs. I cross my arms. "No, you lost the illusion. There's a difference." His jaw tightens. For a second, I see the old Micah, the one who turns every criticism into a weapon. But he swallows it. "I'm in therapy," he says after a long pause. "Court ordered, but..." I keep going. Even after the mandate ended. I nod once. "Good. I'm not expecting forgiveness." I shift my weight. "Good." Micah exhales through his nose. "You ever think we could fix this?" "This?" I echo, voice sharp as a page edge. "Micah, there is no this. There's me, there's you, and there's the wreckage in between." He doesn't respond. I take a step closer, not to intimidate him, but to make sure he hears me fully. "I don't hate you," I say, "but I also don't owe you anything. Not my silence, not my sympathy, and definitely not a relationship." He nods slowly. It's not defeat, it's something quieter, like acceptance. "I just wanted you to know I'm trying," he says. I study him. Not the face, the posture, the quietness. "I hope you keep trying," I reply, "but I'm not waiting for you to become someone better. That's your work. Mine was getting out." He blinks, and for the first time, I think he actually sees me. Not the little sister, not the obstacle, just me. I leave the store. Outside, the rain has lightened into mist, the kind that lingers in your hair and smells like renewal. Back home, I curl up with tea and my sketchbook. I flip to a fresh page. Draw a broken champagne flute. Draw a vial beside it, empty. Then I draw a mirror. Not with Micah's face or mine. Just the reflection of light. Diffused, unclear, real. I title it After the Shatter. A week later, I receive a message from Maria. He's never apologized to me, but I heard he dropped out of that board seat. Something's shifting. I don't reply. I just let the message sit, let it breathe. Because this isn't about punishment anymore. It's about release. My therapist once asked me if I believed in forgiveness. I said I didn't know. But maybe it's like this. Forgiveness isn't always a gift you give someone else. Sometimes it's a border you draw so you can keep building on your side. Micah might never be family to me again, but I'm no longer shaped by what he did. I'm shaped by the choice I made. To switch the glass, to speak the truth, to live without looking over my shoulder. And when I sleep now, I dream not of poison, but of still water, open windows, and the quiet strength of finally being believed. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, leave a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. And remember, silence is not safety. Sometimes healing begins when we finally name what happened, especially when it's done by the people who were supposed to love us the most.